Ladies, let me tell you something. Your future is not a suggestion. It's not a backup plan. It is not some distant concept waiting in the shadows, hoping you'll get it together. Your future is real. It is powerful. It is yours. But too often we trade permanent peace for temporary people. We sacrifice years of growth for someone who doesn't even know how to water their own soul, let alone yours. We block our destiny because we're afraid to lose what was never built to last. You've been loyal to people who've been seasonal. You've been planting roots in soil that was only meant for passing travelers. You've let someone else's indecision become your emotional prison. You've handed over your time, your dreams, your divine calling, all because you didn't want to seem selfish. But listen to me carefully. There's nothing selfish about protecting your future. There's nothing selfish about choosing you. The most dangerous thing you can do is confuse a lesson with a lifetime. Some people come into your life to teach you what love is not, so you'll recognize it when it finally arrives. Some people come to expose the holes in your boundaries. Some people are just mirrors. They reflect your wounds, not your worth. And if you mistake their presence for permanence, you'll miss the elevation God has designed just for you. There are people you are trying to carry who are only supposed to walk with you for a season. And the longer you drag what's meant to be released, the heavier your soul becomes. That's why you're tired. That's why you feel stuck. You've been trying to build a future with someone who doesn't even see you in theirs. You're trying to give stability to someone who thrives in chaos. But baby, you were not created to be a shelter for storms you didn't start. Let's talk about your vision, that dream that won't leave you alone, that thing you've been trying to mute so you can stay comfortable. Why are you holding back? Why are you waiting for someone's permission to be great? Is it because you think they'll leave you once you grow? Newsflash, anyone who can't handle your growth never loved you in the first place. They loved your smaller self. They loved the version of you that was easier to control, easier to predict, easier to pacify. But they never loved your fire. They never loved your future. You were born to evolve. You were born to rise. So stop dimming your light to make someone else feel comfortable in their shadow. Stop shrinking so they can feel tall. Stop holding your breath in relationships that are choking the life out of you. Look around. Ask yourself, who am I building with? Are they helping me elevate, or are they anchoring me to where I no longer belong? Are they speaking life into my dreams, or are they slowly killing my confidence with their silence? Your future requires discernment. Your future requires discipline. It requires the courage to walk away from what's familiar but unfulfilling. Let's talk about loneliness, because that's where most people get stuck. You think that being alone is worse than being underappreciated. You've convinced yourself that a warm body is better than a cold soul. But let me be real with you. Peace is not lonely. Solitude is not punishment. Some of your greatest growth will come when it's just you, God, in silence. Don't rush back to broken just because healing is quiet. It takes strength to walk away from almost, from maybe, from if only. But every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to what's meant for you. Every time you close the door on temporary, you create space for the eternal, for legacy, for real love, for purpose. Stop negotiating with your work. Stop giving discounts on your soul just to keep someone who doesn't even know how to value it. You are not a convenience. You are not a placeholder. You are not someone's backup plan. You are the vision. You are the foundation. You are the future. So why are you still crying over someone who can't see past the moment? Why are you still waiting on someone to choose you when God already did? You were chosen before you were born. You were marked for greatness before they ever broke your heart. So stop letting their inability to love you properly make you forget who you are. You are not hard to love. You are just not made for someone who confuses attention with affection. Someone who gives breadcrumbs and expects loyalty. Someone who gaslights you into believing you're asking for too much, when really, you're just asking for the bare minimum. I need you to rise. I need you to get angry about how much time you've wasted. And then I need you to forgive yourself for staying because you didn't know better, but now you do. And when you know better, you do better. Let's be clear. Letting go is not weakness. It's strength. It's choosing healing over habit. It's choosing destiny over delay. It's choosing to walk with God instead of dancing with confusion. You don't need closure. You don't need a final conversation. You don't need to explain your worth to someone who refused to see it. You don't need to beg for peace. You just need to choose it. Let your silence be your goodbye. Let your growth be your revenge. Let your joy be the proof that you made the right decision. And when they try to come back, and they will, don't forget the nights you cried. Don't forget the days you felt invisible. Don't forget the way they made you question your value. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. Some exits are divine. Some doors are closed because what's behind them can't come with you into your promised land. You've got places to go, businesses to build, books to write, legacies to leave. You've got love to receive, the real kind, the kind that doesn't flinch at your strength, the kind that holds you in truth, not convenience, the kind that doesn't punish you for evolving. Your future is calling, loudly, consistently. And if you're going to answer, you've got to get rid of the noise, get rid of the drama, get rid of the almost, and the maybes, and the let's see where this goes. You don't have time for vague. You don't have time for casual. Your purpose is not casual. Every time you lower your standards to accommodate someone temporary, you delay what's permanent. Every time you say it's okay when it's not, you teach your future self to settle. And you were not born to settle. You were born to soar. So gather your strength, wipe your tears, and walk away. Not because you don't love them, but because you love you more. Because your future deserves more than half love. It deserves more than unspoken apologies and unfinished promises. Your future deserves someone who shows up fully, consistently, with clarity and commitment. Don't block your blessing because you're scared to be alone. Don't block your breakthrough because you're addicted to a broken pattern. And please, don't block your future because someone temporary convinced you they were forever. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are exactly who you need to be to start again. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. So take the phone off, silent. Block who you need to block. Delete what needs deleting. Unfollow who needs unfollowing. And get back to you. Get back to peace. Get back to progress. Get back to the life you were born to live. The version of you that's waiting on the other side of this decision. She's free. She's focused. She's on fire. And all she's waiting for is you to stop choosing temporary over destiny. This is your moment. Don't miss it. If God had shown you everything he had planned for you, you would have never lowered yourself for half-hearted love. If you could see the woman you're about to become, you'd stop crying over doors that were meant to close. But I get it. Your heart is pure. You believed in the potential. You believed in the moments. You gave them grace when they gave you confusion. You stayed when you should have walked. You prayed when you should have released. But hear me, you are allowed to outgrow people who had the chance to grow with you but didn't. You are allowed to leave the table when love stops being served. You are allowed to protect your peace without an apology because your future is not up for negotiation. Not anymore. You're not bitter. You're better. Better than the manipulation you tolerated. Better than the silence you accepted. Better than the bare minimum you called good enough. You're better because you finally realized that you don't have to set yourself on fire just to keep someone else warm. You are done settling for people who only love the idea of you, but not the reality of what it takes to walk with a woman of vision, a woman of fire, a woman who's not afraid to rise. Let me tell you what happens when you let go of temporary. You make room for purpose. Your mind gets clearer. Your heart gets lighter. Your steps get louder. You walk into rooms differently. You no longer beg for energy that drains you. You attract what aligns, not what confuses. You move like a woman who knows she is the prize, not because of ego, but because she finally learned the value of her presence. And when you stop blocking your future, your whole spirit shifts. You stop reacting to disrespect. You stop explaining your work. You stop waiting for apologies you'll never get. You stop needing closure from people who were never open to begin with. You learn to clap for yourself. You learn to heal without an audience. You learn that elevation often requires isolation, and you finally stop fearing the silence, because in that silence you hear God again. You hear purpose again. You hear your own voice, the one you silence for the sake of keeping someone temporarily comfortable. And when you hear yourself clearly, you stop tolerating confusion. You stop answering late night texts that lead nowhere. You stop rehearsing conversations that won't change anything. You stop making excuses for people who never showed up. You are not crazy. You are not asking for too much. You are just evolving, and not everyone can come with you. You were never meant to be caged. You were never meant to be somebody's emotional rehab. You are not a project. You are not someone's healing plan. You are not here to fix people who refuse to grow. Listen, baby, you don't need to prove your loyalty to someone who never chose you fully. You don't need to wait it out for someone who's already made you an option. You don't need to waste another second overthinking your exit, because the truth is, some doors don't close until you slam them. Some blessings don't come until you walk away first. You keep asking, what if I leave and they change? But what if you stay and you don't? What if staying stunts your growth? What if staying keeps you stuck in cycles that your future self will regret? What if staying makes you miss the very thing you were born for? Let me tell you something that will set you free. You do not owe loyalty to someone who gave you confusion in return. That is not love. That is bondage. And you were not born for that. You were born to build, to birth ideas, to speak life, to walk in rooms and shift the energy, to be loved loudly, boldly, without hesitation or fear. You were born to be somebody's answered prayer, not somebody's temporary placeholder while they figure it out. So today, let this be your reminder. You don't have to stay where love isn't clear. You don't have to keep watering dead plants hoping they'll bloom. You don't have to convince someone to see your light when they've already chosen the darkness. You just have to choose you. Choose your joy. Choose your peace. Choose your voice. Choose your future. And when you do, everything changes. Suddenly, the air feels lighter. The weight of compromise starts lifting off your shoulders. You look in the mirror and you don't just see a survivor, you see a woman reborn. You see a version of you that's been buried under years of settling. You see the fire that life tried to smother glowing again. Let them say you switched up. Let them say you changed. Because the truth is, you did. And that's exactly what you were supposed to do. You're not here to stay the same. You're not here to prove to people that you can endure more pain than anyone else. You're here to grow, to evolve, to heal. There comes a point in every woman's life where you stop asking, what do they want from me? And start asking, what does God want from me? And when you ask that, your standards change. Your circle changes. Your habits change. You stop entertaining confusion and start pursuing peace like your life depends on it, because it does. You were never meant to stay in the waiting room of someone else's indecision. You were never designed to sit on the bench while your calling goes untouched. Listen to me, every second you spend pouring into someone who is not your assignment is time stolen from the mission you were born to fulfill. Yes, you love them. Yes, you see their potential. Yes, you shared history. But if that history is keeping you from your destiny, then baby, it's time to make peace with walking away, because the woman you're becoming doesn't have time to keep going in circles. You can't run a marathon in high heels and heartbreak. You can't take flight while carrying dead weight. And you cannot reach the mountaintop while clinging to people who are terrified of heights. Some people are afraid of your potential, not because you did anything wrong, but because they see something in you they haven't found in themselves. And rather than grow with you, they'll try to distract you. They'll try to water down your brilliance so they can keep shining by comparison. But not anymore. You are done playing small. You are done over explaining. You are done editing yourself to make someone else feel secure. You were not created to be background noise in your own life. You are the main character. You are the light. You are the voice that breaks generational patterns. You are the one who's going to do it differently. So when people say you've changed, smile and say, I was supposed to, because you finally stopped treating your heart like a donation box. You stopped giving your time away to people who didn't know how to value it. You stopped prioritizing people who only made you an option. And in that moment, you stepped into alignment. You stepped into purpose. You stepped into power. Let's talk about that power for a second. Because when you reclaim your power, people will get uncomfortable. You'll be called difficult. You'll be called selfish. You'll be called dramatic. But here's the truth. Your boundaries will always offend the people who benefited from your lack of them. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them talk. You are no longer responsible for managing their comfort at the expense of your soul. You are allowed to say no. No to confusion. No to mixed signals. No to situationships that waste your time and call it intimacy. No to people who want access to your body but can't handle the weight of your mind. No to energy that drains you instead of fuels you. Your no is holy. Your no is powerful. Your no is the gatekeeper between where you've been and where you're headed. Let me ask you something. What are you afraid you'll lose if you finally choose yourself? Are you afraid they'll move on without you? Let them. Are you afraid they'll call you names? They already are. Are you afraid you'll be alone? Maybe you will be for a moment, but that space you clear by letting go of what's not meant for you is exactly where peace will move in, where purpose will expand, where the right people, your people, can finally find you, because they can't meet you if you're hiding behind who you had to be just to survive. You've done survival. You've done sacrifice. You've done staying silent just to keep the peace. But now it's time to thrive. It's time to take up space. It's time to stop settling for love that has to be chased. There's a version of you that loves herself too much to beg, a version of you that protects her energy like a sacred temple, a version of you that's magnetic, not because of how she looks, but because of how deeply she knows who she is. That's who's waiting on the other side of this decision. That's what's available when you finally stop blocking your future for someone who was only ever meant to be a stop along the way, not the destination. And let's be honest, deep down you already know it. You've known it for a while now. You've just been hoping they'd change, hoping they'd show up, hoping the potential would finally become reality. But hope without action is just another trap. Hope without truth is just another delay. And you don't have time to delay your greatness any longer. You deserve someone who chooses you, not when it's convenient, not when they're lonely, not when they feel like it, but always fully, completely, without games, without guessing. So I want you to get real with yourself today. No filters, no mask. Ask yourself, what is this connection really costing me? Is this love or is this attachment? Is this growth or is this just comfort? Is this my future or just a distraction from it? Answer honestly and then move accordingly, because nothing changes until you do. And that moment, the one where you finally put your foot down and say, I choose me, that moment shifts everything. The job, the relationships, the boundaries, the joy, it all comes rushing back the second you make space for it. So don't wait for the pain to get worse. Don't wait for another birthday, another betrayal, another year of almost. Let this be your wake-up call. Let this be your reminder. You don't owe your future to anyone who refuses to show up for your present. Your purpose is too big for indecision. Your legacy is too important for drama. Your calling is too divine to be watered down by temporary people with permanent access. Protect your gates. Guard your peace. And for the love of everything you've sacrificed, don't block your future for someone who was never supposed to hold your hand at the finish line. You can't build legacy with people who don't even have vision. You can't create a future with someone whose mindset is stuck in the past. And no matter how much you love them, no matter how many memories you've made, love is not enough when respect is missing. Let's talk about alignment because that's where many women get caught up. You want love, but you also want peace. You want partnership, but you also want freedom. You want support, but you also want space to grow. And that's not too much to ask. That's your divine right. But when you try to force alignment with someone who doesn't share your values, you end up trading your peace just to keep a warm body beside you. You compromise pieces of yourself just to keep the idea of us alive. But listen to me carefully. If you have to lose you to keep them, it was never love. It was never partnership. It was never your forever. Stop trying to pour purpose into someone who only came to sip from your energy and leave you dry. You keep asking, what more can I give? When the real question is, why am I giving this much to someone who gives me so little in return? You've become their emotional crutch, their therapist, their second chance, their comfort zone. And in the process, you forgot you were never meant to be anyone's rescue mission. You were meant to be discovered, not repaired. You've earned the right to walk away from what doesn't feel like home anymore. You've earned the right to say, I deserve more than this. Not because you're arrogant, but because you finally realize what you've been carrying, what you've been tolerating, what you've been accepting just to keep the illusion of love alive. And let me be real with you. Every second you spend in a relationship that drains you is a second you delay the healing you desperately need. A second you push your purpose to the background. A second you teach yourself that settling is acceptable. But I promise you this, the moment you choose yourself, you shift timelines. You realign with destiny. You start showing up for yourself the way you've been showing up for everybody else. And in that moment, you become unstoppable. I know it hurts. I know you wanted forever. I know you prayed over this connection. But God is not going to send you someone who destroys you. He's not going to send you confusion and call it love. He's not going to keep you in bondage and call it loyalty. That's not how he works. Sometimes the blessing is not in what stays, it's in what leaves. Sometimes the most anointed thing you can do is exit. Sometimes walking away is the exact act of obedience that breaks the generational curse for good. So stop trying to rewrite a chapter that's already closed. Stop begging for clarity from people who live in chaos. Stop handing out pieces of your heart like freebies to people who've never earned access to your soul. You are not here to be someone's almost. You are not here to be someone's lesson while they become a better version for the next woman. You are not here to be a footnote in someone else's story. You are the author. You are the force. You are the answered prayer. And if they couldn't see it, that's not your fault. That's their loss. Let them go. And while you're at it, let go of the guilt. Let go of the shame. Let go of the need to prove your pain to people who never cared to understand it. You don't have to explain your decision to protect your future. You don't have to apologize for choosing peace. You don't have to feel bad for growing past the people who once held your hand, because growth requires release and freedom requires sacrifice. And the next level of your life will demand a version of you that refuses to settle for anything less than divine alignment. So don't just walk away, rise. Don't just cut them off, cut the pattern. Don't just heal, transform. Because your future doesn't start someday. It starts the moment you decide you are done giving lifetime chances to temporary people. That's when your glow comes back. That's when the weight lifts. That's when the vision returns. That's when God starts opening doors you didn't even know existed, because now you're available for what's real. Now you're open to what's healthy. Now you're finally in position for the love, the mission, and the elevation that was always meant for you. And yes, it might be quiet for a while. You might cry. You might second guess. You might miss the routine, the comfort, the us that once felt like everything. But don't confuse loneliness with lack. Don't confuse grief with regression. Healing is not linear, but it is worth it. Because one day you'll wake up and realize you haven't thought about them in weeks. One day you'll look back and be grateful they didn't change. Because if they had, you might have stayed. And staying would have cost you everything. One day you'll be so proud of the woman you became when you finally stopped choosing potential over peace. You'll smile at the reflection staring back at you, knowing she chose herself even when it hurt, even when it was hard, even when no one clapped for her but God. That's real strength. That's real healing. That's real freedom. So no, don't block your future for someone who was never meant to. Don't delay your glow up for someone who's still searching for themselves in temporary pleasures. Don't mute your roar for someone who only ever wanted your whisper. Your time is now. Your future is waiting. And everything you deserve is on the other side of I'm done settling. You are not bitter. You are not broken. You are becoming. And when you finally step fully into that version of you, they'll say she changed. Yes, she did. She remembered who she was, and when a woman remembers, she becomes untouchable. Not because she builds walls, but because she sets standards. Not because she's cold, but because she's finally clear. She doesn't entertain energy that makes her question her value. She doesn't dance with dysfunction just to feel wanted. She doesn't stay in rooms where her spirit feels small. You see, when clarity arrives, chaos no longer has a seat at the table. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop apologizing for dreams that are too big for small minds. You stop watering desserts and calling it gardening. You realize that love isn't supposed to feel like anxiety. It isn't supposed to leave you guessing. Real love does not show up late, and it does not leave you hanging. Real love aligns, it protects, it makes you feel seen without having to perform. And anything less than that, it's a distraction. Too many women have confused attachment for love, familiarity for future, longevity for loyalty. Just because someone's been around doesn't mean they're meant to stay. Some people endure not because they care, but because they're comfortable, because you make life easy for them, because you carry what they should have been building. But today I want you to ask yourself, what am I building and who's actually building with me? Who shows up when no one's watching? The price of self-abandonment who adds to my peace, not just my playlist of excuses? Who really sees me? When you stop lying to yourself, the truth becomes your freedom. It becomes easier to walk away when you know you've done your part. It becomes easier to move forward when you stop romanticizing what only ever drained you. That's the part they don't tell you. Letting go isn't just about the person. It's about releasing the version of yourself that accepted less, that feared being alone, that thought struggle was proof of love. You don't need to prove your worth through pain. You don't need to be someone's emotional endurance test. That's not love, that's survival. And you were not born to survive relationships. You were born to thrive in them. The woman you're becoming honors her heart too much to negotiate with emotional gamblers. She's not afraid to lose someone if it means she gets to keep her peace. She doesn't chase closure, she creates it. She doesn't shrink to stay, she stands to rise, and rise you will, because every step away from dysfunction is a step toward destiny. Every boundary you enforce is a declaration of value. Every time you say no more, you create space for finally yes. Let them call you harsh, let them say you switched up. You're not obligated to remain the version of you they had access to when you didn't know your power. Growth is not betrayal, evolving is not arrogance. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. There are seasons of your life that will require silent exits. No announcement, no explanation, just a decision to stop participating in your own heartbreak. Just a decision to stop calling dysfunction love. Just a decision to finally choose you. That decision changes everything. Your energy returns, your focus sharpens, you stop watching your phone. You stop praying for texts. You stop rereading messages trying to decode meaning in someone who was never deep. You stop investing in relationships that treat you like a convenience. Because now you know you're not just a woman, you are a future. You are legacy. You are soil. You are life. You are the beginning of something sacred. And anyone who can't see that has no business walking beside you. You are no longer proving. You are no longer pleasing. You are no longer tolerating people who only love the parts of you they can control. You are leading. You are healing. You are rising. And what's ahead of you, it's bigger than what left you. It's richer than what betrayed you. It's more peaceful than anything you had to force. You don't need to go back. You don't need to revisit. You don't need to remind them of what they lost. Let them find out on their own. Let them sit with their choices. Let them wonder why your name doesn't echo in their inbox anymore. Let them scroll and see you glowing from afar. Let them realize that the access they wasted is now a gate they can't pass through. That's what happens when a woman reclaims her future. She doesn't shout about her departure, she just goes. She doesn't prove why she deserves more, she just becomes it. She doesn't pray for change in others, she transforms herself. And through that transformation, she learns that not everyone is meant to witness her bloom. Some only came to watch you wilt. Some only stayed because you didn't know how to close the door. But now, you've changed the locks. You've cleared the space. You've stopped giving power to people who weaponize your softness. And you've started living, not existing, not enduring, not surviving off of crumbs and chemistry and empty promises, but living fully, wildly, deeply, intentionally, living in your truth, living in your calling, living in your peace. And baby, when you start living like that, you don't just protect your future, you become it. You become the woman who no longer needs convincing, the woman who walks in confidence, the woman who no longer asks, am I enough, but says, I've always been more than enough. And from that place, you don't attract chaos, you repel it. You don't chase, you allow. You don't beg, you allow. You don't explain, you embody, because once you choose yourself fully, the world responds, your future responds, the path clears, the people come, the love arrives, the doors open, not because you fought for it, but because you finally stopped fighting yourself. This is what it means to no longer block your future. It's not a single moment, it's a daily decision to stay aligned, to stay aware, to stay awake, to no longer betray your soul in the name of love, to no longer accept temporary comfort at the cost of permanent clarity. So here's your confirmation. You don't need to wait. You don't need more signs. You don't need their permission. You are the sign, you are the shift, you are the moment that turns the page in your future. It's waiting on no one but you. Your future is waiting on no one but you. And that's the truth most people spend years avoiding. We wait for closure. We wait for apologies. We wait for the right moment, the perfect sign, the one conversation that will finally make it all make sense. But sometimes clarity comes in the silence. Sometimes freedom doesn't need an announcement. It needs a decision, and that decision is yours to make. There is nothing more dangerous than wasting your becoming on someone who is content, staying broken, someone who's addicted to your light but allergic to accountability, someone who shows up only when they sense you've outgrown the version of you that kept them comfortable. And yet that's where so many women get trapped in the performance of potential. You keep hoping they'll change, you keep making excuses, you keep reminding yourself of the good times while ignoring the toll it's taken on your mind, your body, your spirit. But let me say this with love and without apology. You were not created to live in emotional limbo. You were not built to settle into a life where your dreams are buried under someone else's insecurity. You are not here to rescue people who refuse to swim. You are here to rise, and the rising will cost you. It will cost you your comfort. It will cost you your excuses. It may even cost you relationships you thought were forever. But what you gain is sacred. You gain yourself. You gain your voice. You gain the type of peace that doesn't come with apology or negotiation. It's in that rising where the world meets the real you, not the edited you, not the version of you built on survival, but the you who knows what she's worth and no longer debates it. The you who doesn't trade dignity for attention. The you who knows that being chosen by someone else will never matter as much as choosing herself. That's where you are now, at the crossroads between who you've been and who you're called to become. And no, it's not easy. Growth never is, but it is necessary. Because staying small just to keep someone else comfortable is not noble. It's not love, it's self-abandonment. And the price of self-abandonment is always too high. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this heartbreak. A version of you that doesn't flinch when she hears her own name. A version of you that no longer chases clarity from people committed to chaos. A version of you that doesn't apologize for how brightly she shines or how boldly she walks. She's in there. underneath the silence, underneath the overthinking, underneath the moments you wanted to give up. She's always been in there, and she's been waiting for you to stop playing small for people who never had the capacity to hold you. Because here's the thing, when you stop blocking your future for someone who's temporary, you stop asking for scraps. You stop mistaking effort for consistency. You stop taking almost as a compliment. You stop letting potential waste your time while you starve your purpose. You stop begging for clarity from people who communicate in confusion. And most importantly, you stop giving the most intimate parts of your soul to people who only show up when it's convenient. You see, real love doesn't arrive wrapped in anxiety. It doesn't leave you wondering. It doesn't show up late and expect applause. Real love holds space. It sees you. It uplifts you. It doesn't hide behind excuses or play tug of war with your emotions. And when you finally learn the difference, you stop making room for anything less. Not because you're bitter, but because you're healed. And the healed woman is a powerful woman. She walks different. She speaks different. She moves in alignment, not desperation. She no longer chases what depletes her. She no longer settles for validation dressed as affection. She no longer trades her peace for the illusion of partnership. That's where you're headed. But to get there, you must be willing to burn the bridge behind you, not out of hate, not out of revenge, but out of reverence for your future, because not every connection deserves a second visit. Not every heartbreak requires healing with the person who caused it. Some peace is found in separation. Some love is found in letting go. And when you finally walk away, truly walk away, not physically, but emotionally, you'll feel the shift. You'll sleep better. You'll breathe deeper. You'll stop checking your phone for messages that never come. You'll stop needing closure because your healing is the only closure you'll ever need. The woman you're becoming doesn't check in on her past. She doesn't rehearse old conversations. She doesn't scroll through memories looking for proof that it was real. She knows it was real, but she also knows it wasn't right. And she's learned to tell the difference. That's wisdom. That's growth. That's elevation. So don't you dare go back. Don't you dare respond to that text. Don't you dare open a door you fought so hard to close. You are not who you were when you tolerated that. You've evolved. You've healed, you've shifted, and nothing behind you is worth what's ahead. What's ahead? What's ahead is clarity, joy, wholeness, laughter that doesn't feel forced, conversations that don't end in confusion, relationships rooted in purpose, not performance, love that holds your hand in your heart. But to access that, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be okay with letting people think you changed. You have to be willing to be the villain in someone else's story just so you can be the hero in your own. You are not here to carry guilt. You are not here to carry people. You are here to carry legacy. So get up, wipe your tears, straighten your back, and walk like the future is already yours, because it is. And the moment you stop blocking it with dead weight and broken promises is the moment everything begins to shift. You didn't come this far to shrink. You didn't fight this hard to settle. You didn't pray this long to go back to what broke you. You are here now, fully, freely, finally. So take the lesson, leave the rest, and never again block your future for someone who is only meant to teach you how to walk away.